Good morning, everyone. Could I have your attention, please? This is the Committee of Public Property and Public Works. I'm Bill Greenlee, the Vice Chair. Councilman Heenan cannot be here today. We have established a quorum with Councilwoman Blackwell, Councilman Squilla, and Councilwoman Sanchez. Mr. Krillman, will you please read the title of the first bill before us today?
Bill number 150161, an ordinance amending Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Philadelphia Land Bank to allow the city to transfer property to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority for subsequent transfer to the land bank, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. Who's our first witness? Record will reflect that Councilman O, a member of the committee, is also present. Good morning, Mr. Coons. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Good morning, Councilman and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. I'm Michael Ince, Executive Director of the Philadelphia Land Bank, and I'm here to present testimony on behalf of the administration on Bill number 150161, which would establish a process by which city property is conveyed to the land bank. Bill number 150161 will not change the goal of the original land bank ordinance, which of course expected the conveyance of city property to the land bank. However, that original ordinance did not state the mechanism through which these conveyances would occur. Bill 150161 provides that mechanism. This bill will allow the city to convey city properties to the Redevelopment Authority for further conveyance by the Redevelopment Authority to the land bank. The amendment further intends that these conveyances be made without consideration and with no city-imposed restrictions on title or use. All conveyances by PRA to the land bank must be approved by council resolution. The administration recommends one technical amendment to the bill, however. As currently written, the bill would cause the city to remove from their deeds all pre-existing restrictions such as easements for roads or utilities. The technical amendment proposed would instead clarify that the city is to impose no additional conditions on the transfer, which would leave any pre-existing deed restrictions in place. I urge the committee to report bill number 150161 favorably and to suspend the rules so as to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. I would be happy to answer any questions from members of the committee.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Blackwell?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Coons.
Good morning, Councilwoman.
I know that each time we deal with issues in terms of employees for the land bank, I know this establishes a process. Do I assume that while negotiations are going place, nobody's affected and that we will know about all of that before anything happens?
That is correct. As we discussed earlier, 3 of the 4 agreements are in place now, and we're negotiating the final 4th one.
Thank you. So that's my point to members of the committee. As from the beginning, we just have to make sure that our workers are protected. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Coons.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Squilla?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Coons. My question is a little different. I mean, not compared to this legislation, but as far as the private property going into the land bank, has that mechanism have been vetted yet and processed where they can foreclose on a abandoned lot or somebody if they can't find the owners, so forth and so on, to be able to accept them into the land bank at this time?
No, we've just begun working the last several months to put that, or at least to vet that process. It will involve, of course, city revenue, finance department, the school district.
So at this time, there's nothing in place?
There's nothing in place now.
But in the future, the land bank will be able to do that?
That's our anticipation.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Coons. Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here to testify on Bill 150161? Good morning. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Good morning. My name is Jihad Ali. I'm a citizen here of Philadelphia. I'm here to testify and put my comments in the record. I'm here to testify on behalf of Bill 150161. I have been an active citizen participant in the creation of the land bank. After the year-long campaign to establish the land bank, City Council finalized the authorization of its creation in December 2014. Members of council were clear that they required transparency of the land bank in this transaction. Some of you sitting here today were principals in that authorization. But what has occurred since the creation of the land bank has not been transparent. There seems to be a hidden agenda over at the land bank. This was evident to me on December 18, 2014, when members of the interim board attempted to pass a resolution giving all of its management decisions to Philadelphia Housing Development Corporation, PHDC. Thankfully, this was stopped by the chairman, Mr. Bobby Heenan, Councilman Bobby Heenan, who went over and intervened because the citizens weren't given access to the management agreement. So that was tabled. And as of this day, it still has not come back in front of the land bank, the permanent land bank board. This, in my opinion, was a blatant attempt to circumvent the sunshine laws and to take authority away from the permanent board, which was to be seated after council had authorized the mayor's nomination of permanent board members. Further attempts to take control of the board occurred on January 26th at the 2015 meeting, which are in contrast to parliamentary rules of order when new board member, I might add, Deborah McCullough, an executive director of the Office of Housing and Community Development, in one move made a motion to nominate herself and all the officers of the board without any discussion nor nominations from other board members for multiple officer positions. She also nominated the chair, who was not even present at the meeting and did not officially accept the nomination. In addition, the CDC person, who is also the chair, is an interested party of OECD. One by one, the interested party of the board members nominates multiple officials. Without asking any board members, are there any other nominations? There's no discussion. It was just one swift move. Power was taken from City Council and given to all the people who are interested or members of OECD, RDA, or PHDC. And was this ethical is my question, in accordance with parliamentary rules of orders? This one motion took away council and gave all power to OECD and PHDC. The question is, where's the Office of the Inspector General? Where's the FBI? Where are the guardians of the people? Today, this bill is authorizing the transfer of city land to an organization that has exhibited that is not following the rules. Mr. Chairman, let me say for the record and for your staff and land board member, Courtney Voss has faithfully carried out her 3 responsibilities as a board member, and those are duty of care, duty of loyalty, and duty of obedience. The other representatives of City Council have tried to also guard the interests of the people. I think it's shocking that the staff of OECD and PHCC have blatantly tried to take over such a valuable institution. I'm here today to ask you to hold this bill in committee until you and other members of the council are assured that there are systems and procedures in place that will allow council to have a voice and to monitor and supervise the land bank. Last week, the Office of Economic Opportunity released a report mandated by 17500 through the actions of this council, which was a summary of economic opportunity plans and assessment of goals. What was troubling was the summary of the land and the developments that OECD, RDA, and PHCC have awarded have failed the citizens of Philadelphia who need their help the most. These agencies had development of over $465 million and failed to have their contractors and developers achieve any of their economic opportunities plans. What a failure that was. Time after time, you hear citizens cry outrage over the building trades about inclusion, only to be told by OECD, RDA, PHCC that through the authorization of non-union labor that diversity can be achieved. Now, with the publicizing of the city report, we find out it's all been a lie. Now before you, Mr. Chairman, these agencies are asking you to trust them again. Authorize this transaction. You need to say no. I'm suggesting that you hold this bill until the call of the chair, and you let yourself and other members of this committee be assured that there are systems and procedures in place to stop these types of actions from occurring. Also, let you examine how the officers of this land bank were selected. In fact, have them hold another election with input from board members that wants responsibility office, not hand-picked self-dealing officers that are in place now. The Land Bank Board attorney, the former general counsel for the Redevelopment Authority, has put in place a briefing prior to every scheduled board meeting to get around the requirements of the Sunshine Law, and in fact, conducting business prior to the public meetings. In addition, there's a strong link between PHDC and the management of the land bank. I've been asking for the last year, how is it possible to have a developer, Ken Weinstein, be the chairman of PHDC, and at the same time be an active participant in the real estate development field, have negotiations with city agencies and not disclose his apparent conflict of interest. In the last few months, there has been an ongoing attempt by this developer, Ken Weinstein, to get control of the YMCA building in Germantown. This occurred without any disclosure of apparent conflict of existing rules and regulations, such as the State Adverse Interests Act, Public Law 1107, number 451, and Ethics and Standard in Financial Disclosures. I've asked the chairman of the land bank, has any member, since they've been empowered, submitted their financial disclosure reports? You know, I'm only a citizen. You have the power, but history gives the citizens an ability to speak to the record. So a day may come and pass when they'll say, somebody will look in the record and see there was one person that saw this. And this is a really a unique situation, because I support the land bank. I think it's much needed, but I do not support the lack of transparency. I do not support the lack of inclusion of citizens to be able to voice their concerns down here. We're muffled. When you come to this council, you can talk, just like you're giving me the opportunity to talk now. You go to land bank, I got 3 minutes to talk about something that they might put on the website on Friday. I have 3 minutes to talk, and at the end of the meeting, I'm not allowed to speak. It's only through the actions of council members like Courtney Voss, or council representatives like Courtney Voss, that allows me the opportunity. All I'm here today as a citizen to say, you, the ones with power, you should at least look and make sure that you have systems and procedures in place to stop this abuse of power. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else here to testify on bill number 150161? Yes, sir. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Good morning, members of council.
Morning.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Rick Sauer, and I'm the executive director of the Philadelphia Association of Community Development Corporations.
A little closer to the microphone, Ms. Sauer.
As you know, PACDC was one of many groups that advocated for the creation of the land bank, so we support bill number 150161 to make a technical amendment to allow for the transfer of properties into the land bank from the Department of Public Property. And we appreciate all the hard work over the past year to make the Philadelphia Land Bank operational. I think council has weighed in many ways, whether through the development of the strategic plan that was approved, by representation on city council, et cetera. And so we urge council to approve this bill as soon as possible, and then work also to approve related ordinances to transfer existing publicly owned property into the land bank inventory, so it can begin its important work of proactively turning vacant properties into assets. We hope we can count on the commitment of both the administration and city council to make the land bank a success this year, which will require the transfer in the land bank of every vacant surplus public property for which there is not an active disposition process already in place. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Anyone else here to testify on bill number 150161? Seeing none, Mr. Creelman, our second bill today.
Public property on behalf of the city to enter into an amendment to a sublease agreement with the Philadelphia Municipal Authority for the use by the city of the premises located at 701 Market Street under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. Commissioner? Good morning. And Deputy Commissioner, please identify yourself and proceed.
Good morning, Councilman Greenlee and other members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Conklin Greenwald, and I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. I'm here today representing the Department of Public Property to testify in support of Bill Number 150169, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to enter into an amendment to the sublease agreement with the Philadelphia Municipal Authority for the use by the city of the premises located at 701 Market Street, Philadelphia, PA, under certain terms and conditions. The current lease term expires June 27, 2015. The Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services desires to remain within the premises and extend the lease for an additional 10-year term. Tenant improvements will be completed within the space at the landlord's expense. The tenant improvements will include repainting and recarpeting the entire premises, initiating a compatible new entry data card system, and regulating office airflow by installing multiple thermostats throughout the premises. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill Number 150169. I'm requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for second reading and final passage at the next session of Council. Thank you. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Commissioner. How much of the building will this department occupy, do you know?
How much of it do you need it?
John Hersens, Deputy Commissioner. It's one floor, the fifth floor. It's about a little over 26,000 square feet.
So you're saying just the fifth floor? Is that what you said? Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions? I'm sorry. I think it's in there. Question is, how much per square foot is?
$21.37. That's all in, base plus operating.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you both.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to testify on Bill Number 150169? Seeing none, that will conclude the hearing of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. We're now going to a public meeting. The Chair recognizes Councilwoman Sanchez. Yeah, the amendment, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I move for the motion of the amendment, I want to thank everyone who's been involved, particularly Public Property Chairman Councilman Heenan for his leadership, and that of Courtney Voss, Herb Wetzel from Council President's office, Jennifer Cates from my office, and Anna Lee for Councilwoman Blackwell's office, and the entire team. I think in the creation of the land bank legislation, we were very, very deliberate around protocols and procedures, and I'm proud to say that we have complied with all of them in this entire process. So with that, I move for the amendment on 150161.
It's been moved and seconded. Excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the amendment is approved. Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that 150161 as amended be moved out of this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to allow first reading at our next council session.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, Bill Number 150161 as amended is reported out of this committee favorably with a rule suspension. Councilwoman Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that Bill 150, this for the next one?
Yeah.
I move that Bill 150169 be moved out of this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move the rules of council be suspended to allow first reading at our next council session.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, Bill Number 150169 is reported out of this committee favorably with a rule suspension. That concludes the business of the Committee of Public Property and Public Works. Thank you all for your participation.